Yes, people, big yourselves up. Welcome back to another show. South U Coys with myself, your boy Ashmatic, giving you the views on gossip and also the pre-match preview coming up our way. So tonight, I'm missing my boy Marlon. He's gone on holiday, but hopefully he'll be back soon. A little bit of family business, to be fair. So yeah, man, big up to Marlon, my boy. But yeah, I've got a few guests on tonight just to help me out with the show, making sure it runs smooth. I decided to bring on my homie, Mia. What are you telling me? What are you saying to me?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Ash. How's you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm here, man. I'm here to talk all things Spurs, and I hope you're here. I'm only looking for honest opinions, and that's the reason why I got you on. So thanks for joining me today. Big up to the viewers at home and people in the comments. Let's get it popping, man. Big you guys up. Also, I've decided to bring on another friend of mine, Dave P. No stranger to the show. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. Premier League's back. We've got one thing to play for now, so let's see how we get on.
This is it, man. This is it. And also, I've got another friend of mine as well, also making a return. It's DS. What you telling me, my broski? You good? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm good. I'm ready to discuss all things Tottenham, really. So yeah, get into it, man.
All right, man. All right. I'm going to go straight in the deep end and start with that Man City game. And obviously, FA Cup, fans are losing their mind, you know. It feels like the end of the world. I don't know if you lot agree with that kind of notion. A lot of fans, they kind of like, you know, the season's done now. It's kind of over. I don't know if you feel like it's an overreaction or are people in the right, you know, frame of mind to say, look, it's not good enough from the boys. It's not good enough. I just want to know where you guys' heads are at. Do you think it was an overreaction or do you think we're right to be super upset that we're out of another cup competition and we go home trophyless? I'll start with Mia.
I think it can be both, you know, Ash. I think that you can be upset that we didn't play good enough and that we're out of another cup for another year. Like, I feel like that's okay to be upset about it. But I think you've also got to understand where we are as a team currently, and we are like very early on in what Postecoglou is trying to do. So I think you can have a balance of both. I don't think I'm not losing my mind over it. What I am more frustrated about is the performance from the boys. They could have done better. They should have done better. And that is frustrating to see. But I think we will have games like that. And we were beaten 1-0 by the best team around. So I don't think there's any kind of like bad thing again, for that to happen. It's not like we're beaten by some pony team, like some smaller team. I think that the fact that it is the best team around, I think there's no shame in that, man. I think that it is what it is. We dust ourselves off and we move on.
DS, how do you think? Is it an overreaction from the fans? I saw on some channels that, you know, things are like, you know, we're blaming the club again. It's like the same old, the same. Things aren't never going to change again. Typical board, typical Levy. Or is it a case of, you know, too much too soon? How do you feel about it?
No, I think it's an overreaction, if I'm honest. I think being knocked out by Fulham in the League Cup doesn't help. The way we got knocked out there doesn't help the way things are going now. But as Mia said, being knocked out by currently the best team in the world, 1-0 in the 87th minute or something silly, it was a sloppy goal as well. I don't think we should be upset. I think we need to look at the positives in the game, and there are a lot of positives to look at, definitely. But yeah, it's upsetting. But no, continue. It's the first year. People are expecting too much. When you look at some of the other teams in the league, you know, how Liverpool, Chelsea, somewhat the Gooners, the way they built their things up, it doesn't all happen overnight. It takes a few years. So yeah, I'm easy. I think it's an overreaction.
Okay, just before I get Dave's thoughts on, I've got another guest on. I'm just going to bring him in real quick. And it goes by the name of Jacob. How are you doing, my broski?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
All good here. What's cracking, everybody? How's everybody doing?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm all good. I'm going to get your thoughts on this as well. But I want to speak to Dave first, my homie, just catch his thoughts on it. And the question is it an overreaction from the fan base? You know, we're out another cup again, League Cup first and the FA Cup. no trophies in like what 16 years now. A lot of fans are disappointed. The way we went out, what's your thoughts on it? Is it an overreaction or do we move? Is it too soon into the project?
In short, yes, it is overreaction, but that's what we do. We're Spurs fans. We overreact. Come on, let's be real, guys. Like this is what we do. We do it in August. We do it in in September. We do it in December. We do it when we crash out of a cup. I think all the points have been raised so far are fair. It's. I think also the performance didn't help. I think if we'd gone out and tried, played our whole game and created loads of chances and whatnot, and then still lost 1-0, I think people would have been maybe too upset. But because it wasn't actually a typical Ange type performance in many ways, so I think that's where it kind of left a little bit of a sour taste, as it were. And I think it also speaks to how far we've come as a team under Ange, that fans even have these kind of expectations, or not even expectations, but we're anticipating a little cup run. If we get past City, who knows what could happen. And most times, you fancy us against most teams to give them a good game. But I think, again, that the performance did contribute to the overall kind of dampening feeling. But in terms of overreaction, I think that's in our DNA. And I don't think that will ever really go until we do win something, and hopefully get used to winning things. Because I think that's when we start to be able to really set some targets. But we're at the beginning of the project, 6 months in, and I've been saying it for a number of years. This team and the squad, as currently constructed, is not built to compete on multiple fronts. So yeah, it's interesting to see where we go from here, see how he approaches the league, because that is it now. That's our focus. There is no rotation there's no thought of rotation in order to preserve players or whatever the case may be. This is what we're going to have to do now, to finish as high up in the league as we can.
Jacob, why did we only land one shot on City? That's my question to you.
Why is such a I don't know if I would say great question to ask. It was more a depressing question. I think Pep just automatically knew what Ainge was going to do in that first half, and that was clearly evident by the way that they pressed us. We were unable to put together 2 passes, let alone even get into their half, let alone even get into their final third. So for me, the fact that we were unable to put up the one shot that happened within the 90 minutes is very forgettable, because I don't even know if you can count it as a shot, as much as it was Brennan Johnson running into the goalkeeper. And I don't even know when that really occurred. It was just such a forgettable game. But I guess when I look at it, yeah, to answer your first question, like, is it an overreaction? I would say, hell no, it ain't an overreaction. We ain't won an FA Cup since 1991. I was 1 year old. What are we talking about? Overreaction. Not every year we go out the FA Cup. I think it's an underreaction. I think people should be pissed off. When I look at it and I, try to balance myself out, like, obviously going out to the treble winning side, what some would say favorites to win the Champions League, some would say the best team in the world right now. To go out against them, I think there's no shame. It did take them until the 88th minute to break us down, even though we weren't playing a low block, and that's typically what they're faced with. For me, it's obvious we're missing a clinical, I don't even want to say finisher, striker. I'm saying an efficient winger that can really threaten a back line, because I just thought for the most part, no one really gave that threat. And if Timo Werner makes 1,000 runs and you only pass it to him once, what's the point of him even being out there? Is kind of my thoughts. So ultimately, you ask why. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. I could give you my assumptions why we were not good enough. They are clearly a better team. They are the benchmark. That Ainge said after the match, that is the club level we are trying to aspire for. They've 7 years into their project. We are 7 months. So, when you talk about reaction to going out of a cup, we should be pissed. If we're not pissed, there's something wrong, because that should bother you. But at the same time, like, I can also say, well, glass half full. It's not the worst to go out to the treble winning side, but look, not good enough at any point. It's not good enough. But you know, I guess congratulations to them. They got to break their hoodoo. They finally scored at our stadium. We knew it was going to happen, right, Ash? We
Yeah,
all said that we knew that that was going to come to an end because the play style was
Yeah, I knew
completely
it.
different. Since
You
the
knew it.
stadium's
You
been
knew it.
open,
You knew
we
it.
played a certain way,
only a matter of
and now
time.
we don't play that way. So it's
Mia,
going to happen.
Mia, what's your analysis of the game? What do you think? Why did it go so wrong?
I think they didn't let us play, like Jacob said. I think they had our game a little bit, and I think that what didn't help was a lot of our players weren't at their best. Even someone like Porro, we had I think 11 dead ball opportunities, and he never took one of them. Like especially the more like the closer free kicks, he didn't make them enough of them. He was mispassing, which is unusual for Porro. I think that I think it was a combination of them, a lot of our players being off of it, having the midfield that we didn't help, and then yeah, our front three just not really doing that much. Although I don't think it was necessarily all of them. I think it was partly to do with the midfield. Us being able to play out from the back is important with how we play. And as I said to you earlier in our video that we did on my channel, we weren't able to do that. Vicario was doing it long balls. He did 11 long balls because he got so fed up with them not being able to pass out from the back. So obviously that didn't help because that's not how we normally play. We didn't press like we normally would. They just didn't let us do anything. They just didn't let us breathe, man. They just didn't let us get into our flow of how we normally like to play. And yeah, I think Pep just basically outsmarted what Ange could do. And because we didn't have players to bring on, we're missing some key players because they're away. And obviously, Maddison's not completely 100% fit. And that really affected us because we couldn't really change anything either.
Dave, my friend Dave, this one's for you, man. This one's for you. Why did Ange play Højbjerg if he's not a part of our plans long term?
Very good question, my friend. And I know we speak in the group chat many times about Ange and this Højbjerg conundrum. Højbjerg, listen, when he first came in, you know, that whole Viking warrior thing, plays every game. But for me, he's like a night out in your third year of uni. It's a very bad idea, right? And then you know it's a bad idea. You know it's a bad idea. You get convinced. All right, we'll give it a go. And then the morning after, you realize, no, it really, really, really was a bad idea, right? And you know, even during the game, you know, he had a couple good moments, and you know, people were singing his praises online and whatnot. And then you saw in the last 10 minutes or whatever, he just decided to just go a bit nuts and tried to hand the game back to them on a platter, you know. And I don't know how De Bruyne missed that chance that was gifted to him. I think it's a force of, it's just he has to play him really. I would have preferred to see Benteke in the 6, just because I think just we know he can beat a press. His lateral movement is a lot better than Højbjerg, and I just think he just generally is a smarter player. But I think with all the people we've got missing and whatnot, I get why he did it, but it's not what we want to see. And I'm hoping, you know, Saar will be back. Saar will be back very imminently. Obviously, his team got knocked out. Is it today? I think they got knocked out.
Yeah.
So Saar will be back. Bentancur, Maddison, Biss might be back in the next week or so. Hopefully, we can now put to rest Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and his Spurs career.
DS, I'll bring you in, my bro. What do you think was the problem against City? Why did Ange's? Did he get tactically outsmarted? Was it the Højbjerg, as Dave was saying, maybe not up for that game? How did you see it, bro?
There's pros and cons to the game. I think attacking wise, having watched it after watching the game back the second time and you know discussing it with the boys, we was missing someone in the centre that could carry the ball or pick out that pass. We all saw it. Werner was free the whole game, or at least in a great position. We didn't get to test him out. You know, we got to see one race or sprint with him and Walker, which he lost. you know, I wanted to see that more often. He was screaming for the ball at times, and I personally believe that whilst we wasn't able to play our game and we really struggled to work our way out the back, I think one takeaway from it is that the defenders were so composed at the back when they did have the ball. It's a whole different new Spurs. I was sitting there watching with, you know, sweating, panicking under pressure because I was thinking, stop playing with the ball at the back and get it out. But in fact, they were bopping and they were bopping well. But the moment the ball got into the midfield, Richarlison was trying to drop deep, and if he did pick up the ball, he's not a ball carrier. So he was struggling, and, you know, he can't ping a pass 30, 40 yards consistently like that. And every time we did try it, I think, I can't remember, someone tried to swing a ball over from the right, and it went into the centre for Richarlison, but that ball should have been for Werner.
Can you imagine a striker who can hit a pass 30, 40 yards? If only we had one.
Oh, only.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I personally think we lacked in the midfield. Pep was smart. His tactics were great. You know, he played a high line. They didn't let us play football, but when we did have the ball, we didn't capitalise. And there was a few times I feel like we did get out on the wing, but Brennan Johnson isn't it just yet. I like him, but he isn't that finished product just yet. He's a little bit weak. He hasn't got that experience, and I feel like there was times in the game where they just put him in the pocket and they just said, we're not going to let you do anything. So yeah, there's a few aspects to the game, I suppose, that stops us from winning or, you know, playing better. But again, we played the best team in the world, and they had chances. And again, you know, so I could rant all day about this game. But your doggy, I think for me, he had a
I'll make it easy for you, DS. Just call him Ugodi. He's the best left back in the league. All right, he's the GOAT.
Honestly,
I ain't hear no more. It makes it real simple. Udogi. I don't care what you call him. Just call him Ugodi.
He's great, man. He did make a few mistakes, and I give him that. Not everyone's going to be perfect for the whole game, but the guy has just got 2 Duracell batteries in him, and he just goes for 90 minutes. He's brilliant, man. So if we can get
so strong too,
like that, yeah, exactly. So you get 11 players playing like that. Yeah, we will be winning cup soon, but for now, yeah, there's takeaways from the game, and my biggest takeaway is that we were missing someone in the middle that could connect, you know, the defense to the attack.
like a James Maddison, you would say.
Yeah. If he was fit, he would have been perfect in that game.
It's got a point. So just to follow on from that as well, what did you make of Maddison's performance, Jacob, when he came on?
I didn't really see anything. Maybe I, need to watch it back and specifically watch him, but it just seemed like a non-impact. There was twice I remember I was like, there he goes, and he didn't really get stuck in or anything. He didn't really possess the ball. But I mean, I don't know what I really expected from a guy. I kind of saw him as, the guy that let's put him out there, just prop him up, and everyone's going to see him and be like, okay, now I'm going to play better because he's there. I thought it was one of those moments, kind of like what we did with Bentancur whenever he came back so quickly. Let's just put him out there. He had a shit game, but everyone around him was better. And I thought that maybe that would be the same case here. Obviously didn't start, obviously not fit enough, but he had been training for about 2 weeks on the pitch while the team was on holiday. So I thought for sure that we'd at least get a little bit more of him. Now, I do have a problem with the fans that are somehow saying that it's Ange Postecoglou's fault. Why didn't he bring James Maddison on sooner? Why didn't he change this? Why didn't he change that? Why does he start this person? I would say the best person, the most adept opinion I would trust in regards to players' fitness is the fucking coach. So I'll make that real simple. If James Maddison had 10 minutes in him, Ange would know that. If James Maddison had 45 minutes in him, Ange would know that. So to me, I'm not buying any of this propaganda. I feel like there's people just lying in wait. I want to be the first one to tell everybody that Ainge got it wrong. And it's like, I don't know what you get out of that other than being just like a snake and lion waiting in the grass. But to me, this guy's come into a broken home, and now mommy and daddy are kissing. The kids are playing nice. Everybody's sharing. And then you just have that one stinky uncle that come around. Well, this still ain't shit, but hey, I ain't worried about old stinky uncle. We having a good time out here in the house. So, I know that didn't really answer your question. I don't even remember what your question was.
You know what?
But James Maddison was not really that impactful. There you go.
No, you know what? Like, I was going to pivot towards with Mia, because I don't think we've really spoke about the front three. Everyone said, City, they kind of moved to us. They put us under pressure. We couldn't play out from the back, blah, blah, blah. But from what I can see from a lot of fans, they're not happy with your Johnsons, and people aren't happy with the purchase with Werner alongside a Rich Harlison. And now when you put all three of them together, it's like that's the new kind of, I don't know, Eric Dyer. That's the new Hoiberg. And I want to get Mia's thoughts on it. What do you make of this front three? Do you think Johnson deserves all the blame he gets? Does he need to get dropped? Like, what are we saying? Like, what's it?
Do you know what? I would say that Johnson hasn't been great. I think that he needs some confidence. You can see that chance that he had. It's a confidence thing with him. You can just tell by his body language. But has he been the worst? No, I don't think that. I think he needs to be dropped because I think for his confidence wise, I think it's a good idea to drop him. And because the thing is, a lot of it goes on the amount of money we paid, but that's not down to him. So when I'm judging a player, I don't judge by the price. I judge by what they do. And I do think he needs to be dropped, and I do think he needs to gain that confidence. And I don't think he would have started had we had all of our team in. I think that he would have gradually been put in here and there, been brought on. So, yeah, and I think that Werner, I don't think Werner's been awful. He's come in, he's had an assist, and against City, he weren't getting the ball. So I just don't think that you can necessarily say that they're everything to blame. But are they some of it to blame? Yeah, they are, definitely. But also, some of the other team need to step up whilst players aren't there, like Sonny and Maddison. And they haven't either, in my opinion.
Fair. Dave, what are you telling me? Johnson, Werner, Richarlison, is that the type of team that you're expecting to push on all, not on all fronts, but to get us top four, get us like near that?
Nope, not top four. That front three doesn't get us top four. But I don't think they're as hopeless as people are saying. I think the problem is with two out of the three, so Werner and Johnson to a certain extent, they're both the same profile. And players like that, and you see it in other teams in around the top four who have speedy wingers out on one side who can't really do much else apart from just use their pace and whatnot. That they need the ball early and they need touches. Do you know what I mean? And that happens when we do have a Maddison fit and firing in our team. And I feel like, and for those that were at the Chelsea game or who watched the Chelsea game, obviously we end up losing 4-1. But those first 20 minutes, Maddison and Johnson were cooking, and the connection was there because as soon as Maddison gets the ball, Johnson's making that run and he knows, he just feeds him. And Werner will be the same. The problem is with the injuries and absences and whatever, we've now got two of them in the team without someone who's ready to play that quick pass. So if you've got someone who's taking 3-4 touches, by the time Werner makes his run, he's offside, or by the time Johnson makes his first movement, it's been countered by the defender or whatever. And then you're asking these players who thrive on playing into space, you're asking them to play in front of a defense. You're asking them to break down a low block or mid block or whatever. That's just not their game. So I think we're being a little bit unfair if we're expecting much without having the support behind them. However, the issue, and Mia mentioned about the money, the issue is when you look at it, you go, right, 60 million on this player, but you could have got Kudus for 40. You could have got, and you look around the league and you see other players in similar positions who maybe go for cheaper, and you think, why didn't we maybe go down that route? So what we need to make sure that we're doing moving forward is that the gap between top to bottom in our squad is not too big. And that's always been our downfall. And this is why we go out cup competitions the way we do. Because as soon as you start rotating 1, 2, or 3 players, you go from a Bentancur in the 6 to a Højbjerg in the 6, and then you have this massive gap in quality. You have a massive gap in IQ. You go from a player who can receive the ball in a half turn, beat the press and do all this stuff, to someone who just runs around. And that's just not going to be good enough. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have our squad quality from our best to our worst is short, and that's what the Man Cities and if you go back to Chelsea and their pomp, United or whatever, they always had off their bench players who could either start or you know, you can trust them for 5 to 10 games, which is what we've had to do with the likes of a Johnson of late. And I mean, Richarlison, I can't really get onto him too much. We know where he is. And let's be honest, he's picked up a bit. He scored some goals. And that was the one thing he wasn't doing categorically last season at all. So here we are. What we do have is an opportunity, you know, as far as I know, Villa are getting absolutely smoked at the moment by Newcastle. Don't know what don't know what the actual score is at the moment, but they've been getting smoked for most of the game. I think they're going to drop off, and I think we need to be ready to take advantage of that. I don't think this current front three will be those players, but they will contribute at some point, especially once we get our midfield back to a full complement.
Yes, I'm reading now Mark Changor's comment, and he's saying Spurs will get into the top 4 with that front three. Villa are likely to drop off, similar to what Davis just said, and the other top 3 will finish whatever order. Do you agree with that statement, or are you worried about that front 3 moving forward?
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to disagree with that statement. Like Dave says, we know what Richarlison is about, and he has picked up recently. I think it would be a little bit unfair to call him out for that game against City. But no, I definitely can't trust that front 3. As I said, Johnson is somewhat a development player. He's not. Yes, he's played in the Prem or what have you, but he's still learning and figuring out his game. And you know, there's aspects of his game that he definitely needs to improve. For example, his final ball. I'm sure he had a few chances where he could have got a decent ball across, and he just didn't. You know, after finding the space. And Werner, what's this? His second game for us? And
yeah,
he's a no-lead. I don't think we're going to buy him. I really don't think we'll buy him. So let's not put too much pressure on him. Let's not worry about him. But yeah, as a stand-in, but Son will be back soon. So you know, we can put him there. Hopefully, you can get Kulusevski out this middle, because I don't think he played well there. I think he plays better out wide. I won't go into it because it seems like you're going to touch on it. But I just feel like maybe in that game, in the middle, he was trying a bit too much in the game. The players weren't telepathic enough. So,
if I may chime in on that, for me, Kulusevski has been not great on the wing, and I liked him more centrally. But I agree with Diaz. These last 2-3 matches in the mid, he's been getting bodied. I know he didn't play versus Manchester United, and for some reason we didn't get overran in the midfield in that match, funnily enough. But it was weird because when we did move Kulusevski centrally, for me, I was like, wow, you're really opening this player's plethora of options. You're really opening it up for him, because when you stick him on the right, he's really got, am I going to beat him with pace or power? You ain't going to beat him with pace. You better hope you could beat him with power, and he just cuts it in on half the occasion. So, more than half. And so he became very predictable, and I just got tired of seeing him out there. And I didn't like Brennan Johnson on the left, and I thought maybe if you put Brennan on the right, you'll kind of get the best out of him. And if you bring Kulusevski more centrally, he's got high football IQ. He's got enough power. He should be able to operate there well. It was kind of my thought, but apparently I'm foolish in that thing, because lately, every time he's been in the midfield, we've been overrun there. So there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a bit of a techie one. I am going to touch on that kind of Kulusevski situation later on in the show. But yeah, that front 3, I think Son needs to come back, because when we've got Son, we've got someone that's proven and that has that quality. Now, I don't like to use the word, but I do feel like at the moment, Werner was that kind of opportunist type of signing. And we brought him in because he has those attributes, as we've mentioned already. He's got pace, he's got experience, and the deal was right to be had. So that's the reason why we're using them at the moment. But I think as soon as Son comes in, we could potentially see Son, Rich, and Kulu back in that front 3 again, or Johnson there, which would mean Werner will go onto the bench, and maybe he may be an impact sub. But let me not talk too soon, because we do have a preview coming up. And I think, you know what, I might as well go to it. I'm going to go straight into it. The preview is obviously against Brentford, and I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on the actual Brentford, like what you think is going to happen. And I'll start with Mia. if you don't mind. What are your thoughts coming into it? Because it's a big game. Every game's a big game, but this time we're on the back of a defeat. We're back at the stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Ange did come out with a comment which I think is interesting. Just before I get into Brentford, he was asked, how do you feel about potentially being knocked out of all the cups? And he said, all the cups? Like, really? Indicating that he thinks we're still in a title race. Do you think Spurs are still in the title race with Ange? Is Ange right to come out and say that? Do you think Ange is deluded? Sorry to say that word, but what are your thoughts on Ange's comments?
Listen, he told the fans that they're allowed to dream, and if Ange wants to say it, that's cool. But do I really believe that we're in the title race? No, because I think that we haven't got enough to be going toe to toe with a Liverpool or a Man City right now. It's too early on for Ange. So it's cool that he wants to say it, and he said it's about fans. If they want to believe it, let them. So I get why he wants to say that, because obviously he doesn't want to be like, yeah, I'm out all the cups, it's all rubbish, because that's not very good for the fans, right? He's playing a bit of like a mental gymnastics with it, because he doesn't want the fans to maybe get on his back about not being in the cups.
You think he's doing up PR and just doing up PR?
Yeah. He's a smart guy, If you think about it, he's very good with like the mental stuff, and he always has been, to get into players' minds. And I think he does the same with fans, because he wants to keep them on board. He wants to keep them happy, right? So
he's just keeping the fan base happy. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he wants to keep them positive, because he doesn't want it to be doom and gloom, because he probably knows that the fans are feeling doom and gloom. So he's saying to them, listen, we're not out of all of the things. We've still got the Premier League. So, I think he's playing a little bit of mind games there.
Oh, what? I'll go back to you, Diaz. Dave, I'll come to you in a second. But Diaz, what do you think? Do you think he's being genuine when he says we're in a title race, we're still in it? And also, the reason why I bring it up is because when Werner first joined, he was like, I'll come here to win titles and cups. That's why he said cups as well. I'll come here to win trophies. So do you honestly think he's just saying it to the cameras, or do you think privately he's saying to the players, you know what? I'm a winner. I won it wherever I go. And even when it came to Maddison, he was like, trust me, you're not going to recognize this Tottenham team by the time I get going. Whether you're here or not, you're going to see. And they kind of had that the first 10 games was like winning mentality. Do you still think he's, got that in his head, or do you think he's off with a fairy? What's your take on it?
He's a confident man. I think he's confident. I do agree with Mia a little bit. I think he plays to the cameras slightly. He does need to keep our hopes up, but I think he's a confident man. And if you look at the Spurs now compared to last season, we do look like a better team. We're scoring goals, we're defending better. We've got better players. I haven't even started on Mickey van der Ven yet. So you don't even want me to go there.
That's right. Yeah? You can start if you want.
Right? Well, if we're going to start, you look at players like him that we brought in. My goodness. I can't tell you the last time I got excited watching a defender. Yeah? When he's tracking back and he's opening up, he's getting there and he's getting his foot in, he's making a challenge and he's looking around saying, I'm the man, yeah? But when you're bringing in players like that, you've got to be confident about what you're doing. And I think Ange's confident. But to say he's going to win the league, put it this way, he hasn't outright said he's going to win the league. He's just saying, we're still here. Don't write us off. He's just reminding people, but he's going about his business quietly. But yeah, there's a little bit of, I just need to keep the Spurs fan base happy and let them know that there's a little bit of something going on. But yeah, I like what Ange's doing now. Again, I'm not going to complain, man. I like the confidence. We've missed that for a long time, so you can't knock it.
I do.
I'm not being negative. It's not because I don't like that he does it. I don't think it's a bad thing that he does it. I'm just saying that's where I kind of see he's coming from and why he's doing it.
So you reckon it's a little bit of a Levy PR stunt?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think he does, like I say, I think he is like what DS said, I think he's confident, But I think he's also realistic. But he also knows that the fans realistically are going to be peed off that we're out of both cups. So he, of course, wants to bring that bit of positivity and keep spirits up, because if it's all doom and gloom, the players aren't going to be on board, the fans aren't going to be on board, and he needs the fans to be on board when we're there, because we need to be that 12th man, don't we, when we're in our stadium. So he wants to keep them on board.
Cool. Dave, how many players do you think we are away from doing something serious, like creating some damage, creating fear amongst other rivals, and like starting to, because obviously Ange said, don't judge me now. He said, don't judge me now. In my first season, relax, stay calm. Second season, I'm cooking. Yeah. So what do you think we need to get to that next level under Ange?
I would say 3 to 5 players.
Okay.
And that's including obviously players leaving. If anyone's been listening for the past half hour, you probably know who I'd want first to be out the door. I'll pack his bags.
Missed it. They might have come in late.
They might have missed it. You know what?
I don't know. They might be
Pierre-Emile.
Pierre-Emile.
Listen.
Pierre-Emile.
I will Uber yourself to
Emile. What's his last name, bro?
I will Uber yourself to Stansted. I will Uber yourself to London City Airport, wherever we need to go.
There might be Højbjerg fans in it. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Anyway, let's not. I don't want to get bogged down talking about just one player. But no, for me, 3 to 5, because it's all about squad. You have to put a squad together, right? You can say, oh, we need a left winger. We need another 8. We need another 6. Yeah, but we also need, a backup here or a backup there. Like we're going to need about 15 to 16 players, all credible players that you don't think, when you see a player getting subbed on and you go, okay, let's see what you can do. No, you want players getting subbed on where you go, right, okay, yeah, this is it. This is us turning 1-1 to 2-1. This is us turning a nervy 2-1 into a 3-1. So it may take, summer and maybe next winter transfer window. But I feel like I'm noticing a level of ruthlessness with Ange. Look at how he handled the Eric Dyer situation. He was just like, look,
yeah,
guys, you're gonna, you're out. And I feel like he'll make that decision a few more times with certain players over the next year or so. Let's see what happens. His talent ID, I'm not quite sure yet, if I'm completely honest. Because if we look at all our great, like not great signings, but the best players we brought in. Okay, Van der Ven, yeah, that's on him.
Yep, one.
Werner, I'm not convinced yet.
Oh, so one, still on one.
Joji Paratici. Yeah. Obviously, yeah, Maddison. Okay.
So 2. So he's got 2 so far. 2.
Yeah.
Was it Ange that got Maddison, or did we scout him?
Yeah, no, it was Ange. Yeah, it was Ange.
You sure it was Ange? Yeah, you sure?
And Paratici, hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? But my thing is this:
I'll give
the fact that I'm seeing Gallagher linked with our club.
Oh.
The fact that I'm seeing players like that, I'm just like, guys, really? Do you know what I mean? Like, we need a little bit more.
Go on, DS. Go on.
I want to jump in there. Do you think Gallagher would have been that missing link in Sunday? It was Sunday, right? In the Man City game, sorry. Do you think he could have been the ball carrier or found that?
He wouldn't have been the ball carrier, but he would have been a better player than Højbjerg to fill in the midfield. And I'm not even. It's not because about him being better than Højbjerg. It's about the fact that he means that Bentancur can play a different role. It means that Kulu can play a different. Like it just pushes other players into better positions. Do you know what I mean? And we're not having to accommodate. So, oh yeah, shout out Vicario. Obviously, I forgot Vicario. That's free. So we have to see where we're at. Come, and I think the more we can get some of these gems in, we will start to cook. Do you know what I mean? Because we can see what the team is. We can see what style of play we're going for. We know we're going to try to create loads of chances. I think we need another finisher in that front line. Out of the 3 players, you can't have one who is an out-and-out world-class finisher like Son. We know Son is a great finisher on his day. But the others aren't. We need at least 2 out of those 3 players at the front to be just, like killers. As soon as they get those chances, they're putting them away. You're 2-0 up in 20 minutes, and then you go from there,
Jacob, we discussed this already, but I'm going to have to throw it back at you one more time. So, do you think this club, Spurs, would ever spend peas? Like, would you think we would spend paper like on a marquee signing, like a like one there where everyone's like, wow, like can't believe Spurs bought that kid. Like,
But Ash, to do that, we have to be a big club. And the same people who are crying out for this marquee signing are the same people who are crying, oh, they'd never come to Tottenham. They'd go to Real Madrid or Bayern Munich before they come to Tottenham. But Jurgusen thought differently, but let's not talk about that. But to me, this whole catch-22 marquee, not marquee, bro, you can find a gym, you can not find a gym. You can buy proven talent and they could end up being shitty. You could buy proven talent and they could end up being what they've proved themselves to be. But I don't think neither of those things like are necessary. Like it's not obligatory one or the other. You can have success finding both. And honestly, our track record when we spend the big cash isn't the greatest. I mean, I don't know what Richarlison ranks, but I would guarantee 60 some mils just a gross overpayment. I would also guarantee 60, 80, whatever it was for Ndombele. We haven't, I mean, he got like what, 3-4 goals for us, and that's really all he's done in the 4 years since we spent that. So I would hope that, yes, to answer your question, yes, that we would drop some P's. Go get Pedro Neto right now. How much that cost you? Give me Ezzy and Elise. They've just balled the hell out today for Crystal Palace.
Do you honestly think, does anyone in the panel think would actually go out and buy an Elise or an Eze? Because they're doing bits.
I don't have hope that we would. I don't think we would. I don't have hope that we would. It doesn't fit this whole ethos that we're trying to act like we're a part of, which is we're gonna, our biggest stars that we've had at the club. We didn't buy them when they were big stars. They became what they were, and then we sent them off, and then they became big stars like Luka Modric, Gareth Bale. I don't remember many people talking about Gareth Bale when he was playing for Southampton. So that's kind of what we always do. So I would expect us to just do what we've always done and get these Brennan Johnsons and sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit type of signings. That's kind of where we've always operated. But if you're asking what I want, bro, if I'm in charge, I would have already bought Mohamed Kudus in the summer. That saves us 10 mil on the Brennan John. Boom. Hey, I would also got Musa Diaby because, hey, you can't have too many sharp tools. You know what I'm saying? Those are 2 signings I would have made this summer to bolster our attack. So, and I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus, but last January, even with Antonio Conte, I said, get this kid Mickey Van de Veen. He's going to ball. I didn't think he'd be this damn good, but guess what? He is. I'm not saying I told you so or that Jacob knows all, but if it's up to me, Ash, bro, we could have got Ezzy 50 mil. He probably cost about 70 now, 75. Elise, same thing. I think he had a clause in his contract. It was 35 million release clause. City goes to activate it. Crystal Palace said, no, we didn't mean that. Take you backies. And then they re-signed him. And now the clause is like 68 million, something like that, allegedly.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot of money considering we paid
that's still not that much. Yeah,
that's
still not that. And when you think about our FFP situation, bro, we could drop 320 M's today, and FFP would say, "All right, carry on, have a good day." We could drop 320 M's right now. I'm not saying that we'd have that in the bank, or I'm sure we do, but I don't know. I'm not an Excel sheet financial guy. I'm a football guy, an entertainment guy. So. But to me, there's no excuse why we can't, but I don't think we will. But I would. Hell yeah, I would. Catch me in FIFA anytime.
Mia. Do you think this club will ever spend like a 75 mil or 80 mil on a marquee player? Like when I say marquee, like to the fans, everyone knows Eze's dope. Everyone knows Elise's dope. Like we spoke about these players, and Matoma. Are we like? Do you think we'll ever see that in our lifetime? Like where all fans get gassed. Like, remember when Van der Vaart came in, everyone's like popping champers. Like, do you think was it always going to be the potential kind of player?
I think the players now, what they're worth, to get a marquee signing will be a lot of money. And do I think we're going to do that? No, because look at when we did spend on Endon Bele. I think we've been
I'll take a
burnt.
Dormitory right now.
Sorry,
Sorry.
it's true.
I think we've been burnt, and I think that means that we won't do it. I think that's where I think that Levy's a bit going to be wary, because you think, look, we gave big money to Endon Bele. We brought in Lo Celso. He wasn't, like, at the time, it's not cheap what we paid for him, because don't forget, like I say, inflation. So players are worth a lot more. But back then, what we paid for both of them was a lot. So yeah, I don't think we will. I don't. I think that it will. I think it would take something special for us to say, yeah, let's push on and do that. But me personally, I'd love to get Eze and Elise. I was saying it last season that I wanted Elise, because I think because I love him. I think he's a brilliant player. So, but no, I don't think we will.
All right, I'm gonna just move on, like, because we could do this all day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Captain America settings.
yeah, I mean, yeah, literally.
What does that mean?
You not seen the film?
There's like 500. Which one? I saw the first one where they were all hanging out and Samuel L. Jackson like got them all together. I saw that one, and I saw Iron Man 1 and 2, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I don't know if that's the same universe, but I've seen that. That's my forever Spider-Man. I don't care who they cast. Shout out Tobey Maguire.
For real. Spitting kind of a couple bars there. But yeah, I want to talk about the Brentford preview if I can, and people's thoughts on how they see it going at the White Hart Lane.
If I say a word to you, I know you're about to start. That's my bad. Sorry, go ahead.
I
was just gonna throw a word out. Do y'all know that? Have y'all ever heard of Monsanto?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
horrible.
Right. That's the vibe I'm taking into tomorrow.
Okay. Dave, Brentford preview. What are your thoughts?
With the amount of injuries they've got, we should really steamroller them at home. Because we've got players coming back. We've got Maddison coming back into our midfield. That should give us a bit more balance. And it works both defensively and offensively. That he can pick up the ball in the deeper areas of the pitch. He's more than comfortable taking off the centre backs if need be. So our 6 is not isolated, and we all know he can play the passes that we need to do, that we need to play to move us on. And I think that's what we've been lacking, is that link between front to back to front. You know, it's been so disjointed, and we've had to rely on players who maybe are not in the same. They're not in the same category as what we know we've got with Maddison. So I feel like we should be able to create chances, and hopefully more high quality chances. They've got Tony back. If I'm a betting man, I'll put money on Tony scoring. But I don't think necessarily they'll have enough to put us away. So I can see it being a 3-1 win for us.
Did Tony give you that tip?
Oh
no, his brother did.
Oh,
that's enough talking about tips. DS. Hey yo.
Hey,
whoa, buddy. Whoa. How did that come from? Ultra pause. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Brentford coming in?
Excuse me, sorry. So I haven't really focused on Brentford too much this season. I do know they do have a few injuries. I did watch Tony's comeback game. I think was it against Forest?
Yeah.
That was 3-2.
Yeah.
I genuinely do believe I was going with 3-0, 3-1 anyway. I think we'll steamroll them again. I'm confident based on the City game. I don't know, maybe I must have been deluded or something, but what I saw against City, that first 15 minutes was hectic. That was fast, that was crazy. And we said, come, bring it, we're ready. And I can't see Brentford doing that. I can't see Tony on his own doing that. Brentford don't have the minerals to come at us like that. Not without taking some licks back. So if I'm going to be honest here, I'm going for 3-1, 3-0. I think I'd like to think Maddison's going to start that game as well. And yeah, there should be some goals in it. I'm just trying to think. Have I missed out on? Is there anyone in particular I want to see do well? No, I just want to see us win and just pick up our confidence again. And I did see a comment earlier. I forgot to check the league table before this, but we win this game. We're 3 points behind our rivals. That's crazy. And they're considered as tight. Looking to tight all leaders or whatever in the race. So we're not doing that bad.
Yeah, we are. Oh.
I don't want to jinx it.
Like, I don't know. All right, cool. No, I'm joking. Jacob, he said, slow down. Jacob, take it easy. What am I saying now to you, Jacob? I'm saying to you, how do we stop the gambler? How do we stop the man with the money? How do we stop Tony? Man like Ivan.
I ain't even worried about that chump. I ain't worried about him at all. This 29-year-old just fresh out the championship looking boy. No, thank you. All right. Keep on betting. And look, I'm not worried about Tony. But there is a good thing that Mbuemo's injured. Yohan Wissa, he's not going to be there. He's at AFCON right now. So their other two big guns in their attack are gone. But we have a tendency to let strikers name Kiefer Moore, you could name a whole bunch of random fuckers and be like, oh yeah, that guy. He almost had a hat trick on us. We have a tendency to make strikers look world class. So if Tony ends up looking like he's having a good game, that's probably going to happen. But what I would say is, we've got Christian Romero. We have Mickey Van de Veen.
Damn.
What am I worried about Tony? Tony knows. Talk about a kid's song. I'm also going to say this. The reason why I brought up Monsanto out of turn order was because he's a guy who poisons U.S. food whilst also almost single-handedly exterminating the bees from existence. So that's quite funny. And again, 364 days out of the year, I say love the bees, support the bees. But tomorrow we need to treat them like we are Monsanto. Exterminate the bees. All right. They're coming in. They're trying to set up a honeycomb in my house. Hell no. There's also a video of a Florida man, and I'm gonna clip it and I'm gonna use it on my preview show in a little bit. And it's this guy. He's like, I guess he's taking a video and he's sending it to his ex-girlfriend. He's like, is that who you really want? Huh? Is that who you want? And he shows this fucking honeycomb full of wasps. And he just grabs it and starts eating. And he's like, and he spits out bees and honey and honeycomb. He's a madman. All right. I need this Florida man's energy tomorrow. That's what we need to be like. Not this soft, like we're going to get ice cream at the parlor type beat. Let's have fun. No, I'm talking about grab the motherfucker, crunch them up, let the honey drip from your hands. All right. Exterminate the bees.
Yes.
You can only have one American on the show at a time.
Mia.
That was wild.
Mia. What are you telling me, man?
It's nice to meet you both. I'm sure you're probably like, well, what the hell is this guy talking about? But Mia and Ash, they're like, there goes Jacob. So don't worry.
Yeah,
it's normal behavior. There's nothing new. Yeah.
We're kind of desensitized to it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because I do think that if we don't change what we were doing, if Porro's off it again, and if we play Højbjerg in that midfield, I am going to smash something. I swear. If I see his name, I lost my rag when I saw him this time. Like, I did lose my shit a little bit. I was like, why the fuck is he playing? So excuse my language. I was fuming. I was fuming about it. So if I see Højbjerg in that midfield again, yeah, I ain't going to be happy because I think something needs to change this game. We can't have that midfield again because it was useless, absolutely useless. We just can't. So yeah, I think that something does need to change, and I'm a little nervous. I think it will be a tight game though. I don't think we're going to smash them. I think it's going to be quite a tight one.
How do you who do we look out for if it's going to be a tight one? Other than Tony, who's the danger people? Like what? What's worrying you so much?
Mate, we're playing. They're playing Spurs. It doesn't need to be a danger person. Ake scored against us. Do you know how much grief I've given Ake over the years for his disaster classes against Spurs? Right? Like Son 1-0, Nuno's first game, right? Like Ake never plays well against us, and he's the one that scores at the weekend. Obviously Friday night just gone. Listen, it might only be a set piece goal or something silly like that, whatever. We just need to make sure we're on job. We need to make sure we take those chances. I'll let Mia do the whole, throwing phone out the window. She sees Højbjerg in the lineup. I've made my peace with the fact that Højbjerg may play, but I'm interested to see what the decision will be regarding Maddison, whether he starts or not. If he starts, I'm very, very confident of us getting the result. If he doesn't, then let's see where we get to 60, 70 minutes, because that's when I think he'll have to come in.
Does anyone think that, and I spoke about this earlier with Mia, that Maddison looked a bit off against Man City? And, it was only Friday he came on and he had someone said in the comments about 4 to 6 touches. Does anyone think maybe Ange is thinking, let me hold back on Maddison? Because when Bentancur first came back, he didn't put him straight into the team. He kind of held back and he kind of bled him in a little bit slower. Does anyone think that maybe he looks at a Skip? Because Skip came on. He came on the same time as Maddison, but he was a lot more involved. I know we all love Maddison to bits because we know what he can do on the pitch, his creativity, his dribbling, his set piece taking, his shots from outside the box, him finding players. He could probably unlock that Werner door or that Johnson or whoever's playing on the right wing. But does anyone think that Maddison doesn't start? And also, does anyone think that maybe Kulu goes back out to the right wing, which DS was saying earlier? And actually, I'll just start with you, DS, because you're the one that mentioned it. What do you reckon?
Can't hear him.
I thought it was me. I was like, whoa. I was about to refresh my whole page. I was like, whoa, is it me? Have I been talking to myself the whole time? Yeah, your mic. Yeah, there you go. No, we can't hear you.
It's gone.
I'll come back to you, DS. I'll go straight to Jacob. I'll bring you back in, DS.
What's cracking?
Yeah, so
I got the meme for you, by the way. I know you didn't ask for it, but for those of you that don't know the video I was referencing earlier, I've got it here if you want it.
Yeah, play it. Go on. Show me what's the meme. Yeah, show it to me. Show me.
Hang on, let me put the mic so y'all can hear it. Hang on.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Watch this dude.
Oh, he's got the bees. Hey! Ross. Hey, bro, is he all right? No, he's with a mad. Wow.
I bet he was buzzing off. I bet he was buzzing after that.
I love that.
Oh, Mia.
Got it.
Mia.
Got it.
That was the low-hanging honey hive there.
Listen, I'm well known. My kids hate my mum jokes, man. I always telling my mum jokes. They're always on to me about it.
Woo! But yeah, back to that question. I want to go back to you, Jacob. What do you think? Do you think Maddison 100% starts? And do you think Kulu stays in that midfield, or does he go out wide and Johnson gets dropped? What are your thoughts?
Nah, I don't want Kulusevski as a winger anymore. Personally, I say just drop Højbjerg, put Kulusevski in there. Have Kulusevski, Maddison.
Yeah,
I want two, kind of like what we talked about, 2 forward 10s, and then
so Bentancur.
Sarr just played yesterday. Oh yeah, so give me Bentancur, give me Maddison and Kulusevski in the midfield. And I want them 2 box to box, because Maddison will drop back and get stuck in.
Right. And so, who's your front three? That's what I want to know. If that's your midfield,
Werner, Richarlison, and Johnson.
Are you keeping it the same? Okay. So
yeah,
you're
man.
not.
That's Ange Postecoglou signing.
Okay.
That-
No one just left. No one just left. He's not going to start Scarlett. He's not going to play Donnelly.
Brian Hill, they're talking about loaning him to Brighton. Yeah, there's just not
He's in
many
talk to
other
Brighton. Yeah,
options.
he ain't going to play.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Does anyone disagree?
No, I like that midfield, man. I like that midfield.
Mia,
Yeah.
Give me that midfield, man. I don't. Even if it's actually, you probably might see Benton, Kerr, Maddison, and Skip, and you see Kulu out wide. I think that might be the other option.
That'd probably be the change. Yeah, that's likely.
Yeah.
I think that'd be like, and Brennan Johnson on the left.
Yeah.
I would probably see something like that.
And
And, you know,
Werner coming
Timo
off the
Werner
bench.
off the bench might not be bad.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess.
And that's where you start to make sense of, okay, why you have two wingers of that kind of profile. I just don't want to see any more Vikings in the middle of the park.
Mia,
Well, hey, in the first 45, I do agree. If Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is your most creative player in the first half of any match, you're struggling. And he was, and we were struggling. So that's unfortunate. I do have to jump. I have to do a show on my channel here. I'm actually late for it, but
That's cool. That's
I just
cool.
had to share that beehive thing with you there, Ash, because I feel like you would appreciate that too. But
as
I
long
want to
as you're-
say before I go, everybody who's in the chat, if you haven't hit a like, what are you even doing with your life? What are you even doing out here?
Yeah, behave.
I'm telling you, okay.
Oh,
Mia.
oh,
Yep,
oh,
I
oh.
definitely got to go now. No, but big up Mia. Make sure you subscribe to Spurs Between the Lines. Make sure you're subscribed here. Big up Ash, my boy. Very nice to meet you and DS as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nice one.
Your
brother.
name got hidden, and I would have addressed you by your name,
Oh.
Dave. There you are.
Dave.
Big up Dave. Nice to meet you, and nice to meet DS as well. Big up Ash. Again, make sure y'all hit the like. What are y'all doing here?
Yeah, man. Big up, man. Big
Hey,
up.
big up, everybody.
Big up
Do some
United.
fireworks before I go.
We'll be over real soon watching
go.
your show, man. We're gonna wrap up real soon. It's meant to be a quick show today, but yeah, man. Big up.
big up.
What's going on, man? Love as always, and you're always welcome back. Yeah. So Mia, what are your thoughts on the lineup? Do you think that midfield changes? Does it stay the same, or do you think that front three? What do we do about that front three?
Well, we were going back and forth earlier, weren't we? We were just, you was a bit like, oh no, but this, like you couldn't quite decide what you.
Now I'm asking you. What do you think?
For me, I would probably change it. I wouldn't play Johnson. I think that it's better not to play Johnson. So I would have the midfield. As much as I don't particularly like it wouldn't be my best midfield, but it have to be. I would start Maddison, and I know like that's probably if he's not fit, but apparently what Postecoglou said that he is. I would have Benton, Core, and Skip, and play Kulu and Timo, and then Richie, because I think that's the strongest team. I think you have to keep Kulu in there. And I think that Maddison, for the creativity, I think we need to have him there because we miss that massively.
Someone said, why wouldn't you play Sarr? Sarr has just come back from AFCON. I think Ange said that he's not back until Saturday against Everton, which is positive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
Sar's not going to play tomorrow. He's only went out yesterday, whenever it was.
yeah, it feels like today. It was yesterday, I think, he went out.
Yeah, but brother, he's not even. He's probably just after playing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's still wet on his cheek. So
Yeah, man. Let's leave that, man. Let's leave that. The thing with Maddison, can I just address that? You know, people said that he didn't look like he was in shape or he didn't look fit or whatever. There is a difference between obviously match fitness and training and that. We all know that. But also, you're coming on against Man City, and Man City's midfield. Like, they make you work. They make you absolutely work. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to be realistic about what we are expecting from him. At that stage of the game, they're pressing. There is no open space for you. There's no issue for you to. There's no chance for you to really start dictating play. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about his fit. I think he'll be all right for tomorrow. And just on this point about Inaki Williams, he scored against Barcelona. He's playing in Spain. I'll be completely honest. The Spanish league compared to the Premier League, massive difference. That's why Celso looks like an absolute world beater in Spain. And anyway, let me not.
I'm just going to quickly talk about my point of view, Brentford. I'll bring it up on the screen. So yeah, I suspect that they're going to line up in a 5-3-2, and we're going to keep our 4-3-3. Obviously, we're going to invert somewhat. So the fullbacks are going to come in here, blah, blah, blah. And the issue we had was Højbjerg, for me, was in that 6, and he was dropping in this position. So I expect their number 7, which is, I reckon, Jensen. Jensen's their playmaker, I think. He's the one. He's actually their highest. Him and Potter, which is their wing back on their left-hand side, he's their highest player. He plays the furthest forward, a bit like a Rico Henry. But yeah, between him and this guy, it's not actually Tony that plays the highest up. It's Jensen. So sometimes you'll see Tony. Actually, let's put Tony on this side. Tony might drop off into this pocket, and then Mupai might stay up top, and vice versa. They might swap over just to receive those balls in. But if we have a Bentancur in here, we might have a little bit more quality on the ball. And at times, I feel like if it is Maddison that drops in that position, then Bentancur has to swap over, or Bentancur will pull wide into this position. So when we're playing that ball, I don't know if you can see my arrow. Let's change that. If we can play wrong button. Sorry. If we can play a ball out to Bentancur out wide, then that can actually help us play out from the back, because we know Bentancur is quite tacky with the ball at times. So then one of our fullbacks, they kind of drop into that number 8 position, and the winger pulls a bit wider, and then all of a sudden we've got gaps there. So we can kind of exploit I forgot their name, Brentford, the Bees. We can exploit them by doing little bounce passes like that. But I think the problem is with this particular team, they like to sit in a low block. And because they like to sit in a low block, if I can just undo that and then go back to this. So in their low block, they sit in the back 5. So they're going to be really tight and really compact, especially in the middle. So the 3 centre-backs will sit back in, creating a back 5. And then this 3 here, what they do is like their formation is like 3 there, 3 there, and then these 2 kind of drop in. So then it's like this whole area here is completely congested. And the problem we have at the moment is our wingers, if we cross it into the box, it's only Richie that's getting on the end of things. But you've got to get past all of these centre-backs and full-backs. Now we need our full-backs that invert. We need them to get into the box. We need Richie to be in the box. And we need sometimes one of our other one of our other centre mids to kind of be at the edge of the box. So sometimes if the ball breaks to one of them, they can have a pot shot from outside, or they could play a ball into a winger, maybe a Johnson or Kulu, and then that creates another chance there. So that's the problem. When Spurs play in a low block or play against a low block, that's when we start to struggle, in my opinion.
We just got to move it quickly. We just don't move the ball quickly enough. We just
do, yeah. And I think that was a problem. I think against City, that was a problem where I think at the back, we were trying to move it quickly, but we're moving it too quickly and losing possession. Yeah. Now, what I've seen in previous games is when we're playing against low blocks, we don't tend to do well. When teams come at us, other than City, we tend to play a lot better, and there's a lot more space to run in behind. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on. I said that Richarlison is going to have to be our key man in that low block. Get crosses into him, make sure he headers the ball, etc., etc. So we need players to change position, put them out of position, not just hold the width, but sometimes swap over. So like I said, Bentancur's got to pull wide, and then sometimes the wingers come inside and receive the ball in different angles and just keep mixing it up, pull players out of position and pass in between the lines. And that's the only way I feel we can cause them
You know what
problems.
would also be nice? Shots from distance.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we actually like had shots from distance, apart from like sometimes like from a corner routine, but just open play. I think when Sarr scored, I can't remember what game that was.
Man
maybe-
U. Was it the Man United game?
yeah, maybe. But yeah, just come on, man. Just receive it there and just take the shot. Take the shot, man.
I agree,
And it forces defenders to come back out, and then see where we go from there.
No, I agree. But because I was saying earlier, Son used to do it all the time. He used to have that on lock. He used to remember that Leicester game? He literally was outside the box, banged 2 goals. I scored a hat-trick, in fact. Didn't even celebrate. He was just cold. Like, he had a point to prove. It's on world class. It's on world class. And then bang, 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 bang. You know what I'm saying? And Dad was looking at him like, yeah, that's my son. That's my son. Now, I want to ask this question. What do we do with a Dragusin? Like, if he was playing at Bayern Munich right now, he'd be getting minutes. Eric Dyer seems to be seeing more ball time than he is. Does anyone, like, someone's mentioned it in the comments, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but this is Marlon's take as well. So, does anyone think at times we could play an old school 3-4-3, but still higher up the pitch? Because people are like, oh, you can't play with a 3-4-3. But the 3-4-3 I'm thinking is we're in their half, yeah? And when we're playing with the 4 are actually your doggy on the left-hand side of the 4 and Porro on the right-hand side of the 4. And then you've got your 2 midfielders in like Maddison, let's say Maddison and Bentancur. Do you know what I'm saying? And then the front 3 actually will be like your Kulu, Richarlison, and Johnson or Werner or whoever. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's your 3-4-3, but we're just playing higher up the pitch. Under Conte, people hear 3-4-3, like, nah, that's not Ange ball. And actually, they think of us playing too deep. When actually, you can play a 3-4-3 high up the pitch. And then what I didn't put on the tactical board was Brentford's play, because they're going to want to hit us on the channels when Udogie and Porro invert. That space is always exposed. And they've got the wingers in their 5-3-2 that are going to want to bomb on. Last time when we played them in the first game, that's how they hurt us. Luckily, Tony wasn't on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I know Rico Henry won't be there, and I know Wisa won't be there, and I know Mbeumo won't be there. But at the same time, they still got Potter. He hasn't had a bad season for Brentford. It hasn't had an amazing season, but again, it's still there where they want to use those wing backs. They want to press high, and they want to kind of whip balls into Tony, if not through France, not through corners, but from open play, like running those channels when we lose the ball, playing direct. We saw what Everton did to us, because Everton went quite direct. And who was the other team? Brighton, they went direct. Remember, Brighton don't normally do that, but they were like, listen, they're going to invert those players. We're going to hit those spaces. So,
yeah, West Ham did it in pre-season. I think that set the template.
yeah,
they put Bowen out wide and said, stay up there, be the outlet. Do you know what I mean? They did it to us, I think, in the league game.
yeah, they did.
The game just before Christmas.
Yeah.
Just stay up wide, and as soon as we turn the ball over, we're just gonna hit it straight, as an outlet, and then play higher up. But listen, whether it's 3-4-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, whatever you want to play, you need to have players who take their chances. You need to have, and everyone needs to step up. I think in the City game, we didn't have enough players who stepped up. Do you know what I mean? And that's, for me, what really, really hurt. It's not necessarily, okay, you get beat or whatever, but it's the fact that too many players had subpar games. And we can't afford to do that. And, we've got, 17 games left or whatever. We cannot afford to do it anymore. So, yeah, man. Let's see how it pans out. Drag us in. Let's see. We don't have to force it. We don't have to. We've got 2 good defenders there. Van der Ven's a top quality defender. Romero, when he's switched on, top quality defender. We don't have to force it. And try to get all these players on the pitch. So let's see what happens. But if we do see a free at the back, then unleash the dragon.
I'm going to finish on this point. What is everyone's final thoughts? Obviously, before we end on the scoreline, score prediction. Who do you think the scorers will be? And yeah, I think I'll end it on that. So, Mia, what's your thoughts on what you predict? And you in the comments as well, guys. Guys in the comments, what are your score predictions? Yeah, how do you see the game going towards the end?
I think it's going to be a tough game. Like I say, I think it's going to be a 2-1.
2-1.
I think, yeah, I think Richie's going to get one, and hopefully, maybe a Poro will. So, yeah, that's what I think will score. So I think it's going to be a tough one, man. I don't think it's going to be we're going to absolutely pan them. Not at all.
And Dave, what is your final thoughts?
Yeah, 3-1. 3-1. I think Charlison, Kulusevski, and Destiny.
Nice.
Yeah, I can see a defender scoring. I don't know why. But I'm gonna go opposite to me. I'm gonna go with Destiny, the Doji.
Destiny Doji. Stringer D says 3-1, Kulu and Rich with a double. Daryl Bedford says if Son was playing, I think we'd roll them. Paul saying 1-1 draw. Interesting. He thinks we're going to drop points. Just to stay on that point, if we draw against them and then we go away to Everton, does that make that a little bit more difficult?
Every game is massive now. Every game is massive. It's not if we do this, if we do that. You just need to go and win. You know, the only games I would say, start getting a bit, tactical about it is when you're against the maybe the top 6 or top 4, whatever. Like obviously we got to go to Liverpool away later on in the season, etc., etc. But listen, Villa's lost tonight. Everton are not great. Brentford have injuries. Go get me 6 points.
Yeah.
Go get 6 points. That's it. There ain't no time. And this is why I think Ange does what he does and the way he says what he says. If you're going to be serious about getting in top 4, you also have to be serious about thinking yourself as a challenger type team who doesn't think about if, buts, and maybes and mathematics and all that stuff. Go get 6 points.
Trust in Ange. That's what we need to do as a fan base. Trust in Ange.
Do,
there are a few doubters at the moment. A few people think, the club's not going in the right direction after the FA Cup defeat. But at this point, I think the mentality that Ange is trying to install in the players, he's trying to shift that. And the only way he can shift that is by winning games. And so, yeah, you're right. If he wins this next game, he just needs to take it game by game and kind of bring that mentality by performances. I think that's one thing I do like about Ange. And I'm not saying anyone's not backing Ange, just the club that people have got the question marks about. Because, and I understand why, because of Werner's and, Brennan Johnson's not quite working out at the moment. I still think Brennan needs time, in my opinion. But yeah, I can see why he's getting pelters at the moment. But I personally would say, yeah, if we pick up our performances and we can show that kind of intent, how we did at the start of the season, we get Maddison playing how he was, Basuma when he gets back, Saar when he gets back, and Sonny when he gets back, a full fighting Spurs, we could do a lot of damage between now and the end of the season. And who knows where we end up. So I'm not mad at Ange trying to encourage the players to have that kind of mentality that we're not losers here, man. We're winners. Do you know what I mean? So take each game as it comes. I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going too over the top. We'll see what happens. I know, Mia, you said you're predicting 7th.
I said 6th, 7th was my prediction at the beginning of the season. So yeah,
you're not too far off really at the moment because we're 5th.
Yeah, I think that's realistic. Like I was being realistic, and I think people are going over the top about Ange. But I always ask people, what was your expectation at the beginning of the season? Remember that expectation. Don't forget that, because we are in the process of something. So to change your expectations so drastically is I just think it's unrealistic, and you're setting yourself to be let down. just think about what you expected at the beginning and stick to it, because that's what I've done. I've stuck to it. If we get fourth, if we get fifth, that's well above my expectation. So I'll be more than happy with that. If we get sixth or seventh, is what I predicted.
You are allowed to change your prediction, by the way. So, but I mean, as the season progresses, but you're sticking with the. You still think we'll get seventh?
Sixth, seventh, yeah.
Seventh. Dave, what is your prediction as well?
Yeah, bruv, top four, bruv.
Top four only.
I saw the way we were popping the ball around in pre-season. I saw the style of play, and I don't see many other teams being able to. And remember, I said it to you guys in the group chat, didn't I? I said, I feel like this season where teams are going to take points off each other. So it's going to be a closer race, and we're seeing that. Aston Villa have done us a great job in the first 6 months. They kept it honest. They took points of Arsenal. They've done this, they've done that. They've had their run. Now we need to step on the gas. Do you know what I mean? And with, no Europe, no Thursday nights, no cup runs or whatever. This is what we need to be serious about doing, because that stadium, this team, this club needs to be back in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And if we're going to have successful transfer windows, as much as we could drop 300 mil and FFP not blink, right? Daniel Levy only wants to spend money when we're in the Champions League. So, we need to make sure we're getting that value in to help us move forward as a team. So, yeah, man, let's do this. Top four. I don't want, especially now we ain't in the FA Cup. I would have taken fifth in the FA Cup maybe, but I want to hear that music on a Wednesday night in October. Yes, and I will be there.
I mean, in the show like that.
And then me will be there going, I thought seventh, but here we are.
Yeah, that's fine, man. Listen,
next week. I'm joking.
Listen, I've been realistic with what I predicted, and I'm sticking to it. Innit? That's fine.
Maybe I'm just a Spurs fan overreacting.
No, what I do, I always set my expectations low because I'm going to then be happy in it. So I don't expect too much.
True.
It's like being let down. That's all it is.
True.
Yeah, that's right. I've been let down too many times. So.
Anyway, guys, big yourselves up in the comments. I haven't even been able to put all of them on, but I see all of them. Man. Big yourselves up. Big up everyone in the chat and people at home that were watching. And thanks to my guests. I want to big up Dave. Where can we find you when you're next on? I'd love you to come on more here as well. But yeah, what are you telling me?
Yeah, New Spurs Order at New Spurs Order. You can find us there. It's a podcast we got, part of the Touchline Fracker community. So find us there at New Spurs Order. We usually record on a Thursday, Friday. It drops every Saturday. You can follow us on all our socials. I'm running most of the Insta and the TikTok and whatever. So make sure you do that at New Spurs Order on all platforms. Myself at Trebles, TREBLEZ. Find me on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. So here we are.
Mia, where can we find you?
Over at Spurs Between the Lines. I do daily content. I do a lot of transfers. I get nice and early, so you get your transfer news nice and early. I've obviously done my preview this week with you. I do reviews. I do instant match reactions with the girls, and I did my show today as well with the girls. So lots of content.
Nice. Also, big up to the United Spurs of America with Jacob. He should be streaming on now. So if you guys want to just jump over, just give him a watch and a like and a follow. Also big up DS, who was on earlier, one of my boys. And yeah, man, we're trying to mix it up every week. But yeah, thanks you guys for coming on. Big up the guests and big up yourselves in the comments. Big up yourself in the comments. I'm sorry I haven't put them all out, man. But yeah. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week, man, to get some more gossip, hopefully, and some more news and reactions to the Spurs games. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and as always, come on, you Spurs.